Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It seems quite surreal, actually, that only 12 months ago we were here in the same venue, and I was launching my last book, The Trust Paradigm. Time has just absolutely flown, but I'm very proud and very honoured to put today's speakers on today, which we'll certainly talk a little bit later. And also visitors, we have some international visitors, so you should all get to speak to one another. We have visitors from New Zealand, Greece, Spain, Germany, and I think France in the audience. So do certainly connect with one another. Before I kick off, obviously I'd like to pay a special tribute to our sponsor, which is Fries LLP. We're very privileged and proud to work with Fries again on this year's event, and we have the chairman of Fries here today, Julian Middleton, speaking. So I hope you'll enjoy the exquisite wines, the canapes. There's only one reason why we have Julian here today. Thank you, Julian. It's a pleasure. Before I start, I think, our event is all about unlocking executive leadership, for through the trust economy. There is no question, right, that the biggest issue in the world today, is trust. I mean, whether we look at this geopolitically, whether we look at this from a business perspective, or whether or not we look at this as an everyday event, one of the issues is trust. It has eroded greatly over the last 10 years plus, and there are events that take place about that. There are bigger challenges, bigger obstacles that each and every one of us in this room and the world have to deal with on an ongoing basis, and that requires change, requires transformation, and actually it requires a different set of playbooks in order to not just navigate, but actually to take the people on that journey to safer waters. It requires business resiliency. It requires bigger and better risk management. It requires board of directors to actually start looking fundamentally at what's going on a 24/7, 7-day basis, and not once a month. So, further ado, I think it was the famous Tom Peters that said, trust is the issue of the decade, not technology. And he wasn't far wrong, right? Far wrong. Okay, before I get too far, I said to Dan we will talk a little bit about the order of the day. We've got some concise presentations that are being made today. Thought leadership from our esteemed speakers will take place for about an hour, just over an hour, followed by a fireside chat, and then we'll take the conversation to networking. And that's basically the order of the day. Hashtag, please. Can you press that? Thanks. So we've created a couple of hashtags. We've got our digital guru in the audience here today. We've created some hashtags for the event, IBEM Executive Leadership 2023 and IBEM events. So everybody in this room I know has a profile of some descript. The idea is to share, like, and we have a central area. We are videoing everything that you see here today. So from a video perspective, we will be releasing that with a series of different videos, sometimes around mid-November, I would have thought, yeah? Yep. Right. That's great. Okay, before I continue, just a couple of announcements. First announcement is that there's Chatham House rules. We encourage lively debate. We want lots of interaction. So please feel free to ask the speakers as many questions as you need to during the fireside chat. I think it's important. Second thing is the opinions that you hear from either myself today or any of the speakers are the opinions of the speakers themselves and not necessary for the representative of the organisations that they represent. So just want to make that clear. Okay, Doug. Few people in the room that don't know me. My name is Geoff Hudson-Searle. I'm a 30-year international executive. I've worked in the non-executive directors space field for the last 15 years across various industries, and I've been a CC executive on both private and public companies. Some of my authorisms, I have got a large media coverage, as you can see, and I also have got a few copies of my last book here. If anybody hasn't got a copy, please come and see me. I'll be helping to gift them, but they're here today. Douglas and I in IBEM Group, we do have a CSR policy, and we actually, the last 10 years, we've supported anti-trafficking of children, which we're very, we find very dear to our lives and our DNA within our values within our organisation. In the last 12 months, we've supported DINA and the Realise Foundation around mental health. I said I wasn't going to write another book, but I did actually put a chapter into this book. We've sponsored and supported this book. It was launched on the 22nd of September, and it went to #1 in the Amazon across depression. Mental health is a big issue, as we all know. I think that Oakland and I were discussing this and the seriousness of this last night around young teenagers to 24-year-olds being some of the biggest impacted by suicide. And we want to try and make a difference. So my chapter, we've got 17 authors here to tell their story, their real life story of how they've gone through suicide and, the attempted suicide and the challenges they had to overcome. My chapter is called The Greatest Gift is Love, and it's very much about how self-love and everything needs to be incorporated in all our lives. So again, I've got a couple of copies here. If anybody would like a copy before we go, happily gift again. Douglas. Right, so I talked a little bit about trust. I think from where I'm standing, and before obviously I hand over to Dan on this, for me, the trust economy should be on all of our lives, and we are talking about things that affect the stock market, our institutions, our governments, okay, our business to business, our supply chain management systems. Doesn't matter where you look, it's no longer just a fuzzy word, trust, or a soft skill, right? It's very much hard currency as far as I'm concerned. So if you don't fix the trust issue, you're not going to fix the business. So I think that we do need to move into this area. If we start looking at the world today, yeah, no big surprise, the Ukraine-Russian war is still on, but now we've got even bigger issues with Israel, and we've got Palestine, and we've got a lot of the dynamics that are going on there. In the last 12 months, there have been other significant things. I mean, I've got a few here listed down, but it's Twitter changes to X, great. US Speaker of the House fiasco, the Titan submarine incident, the Pope Benedict's funeral, the coronation of our king. Trump is indicted. Well, he's got more fans, so that's good. But most importantly, we've had climate changes as well. I mean, if I look at, I lived in Hawaii for a while after the bank, and I got very close to the Hawaiian people. And I wanted to share this with you. It's very interesting. The fires that took place destroyed a lot. The one thing it didn't destroy, believe it or not, was the Roman Catholic Church on all sides. Okay. And in Hawaiian, they will bow down as a direct result of this, because it's the way they are. Aloha in Hawaiian isn't hello or the aloha state. It has a very deep, unconditional love meaning. And it's ingrained as a value within everything that you do as a person. And once integrated, it's kind of like mine is yours, or yours is mine. It's a very deep philosophical meaning. So I thought to myself, I need to share something which I thought would be interesting for the group today. And I started to look at some corporate values. So if I say to you, communication, respectful, integrity, excellence, you think, wow, that's something that I can hold near to me. I can trust that company, potentially. And then you could look at some values that say sustainability, profit-orientated, agility, quality, and passion. Now, what I've just quoted to you both are the corporate value sets of both Enron and Wirecard. And we all know what happened there, right? So was that a laugh? Right. So I move on to substantial research and a little bit around the trust piece, because that's important to me. Bruce Weatherall is a good friend of mine. He wrote the trust report. He interviewed 169 banks and institutions worldwide, and also their customers, right? No big surprise, nobody trusts the bank or their products, and the customers feel it's just no loyalty. I'm just here, I'm just a number as far as we're concerned. IBEM, we commissioned the trust report because we had some incredibly important work that we needed to do. And astoundingly enough, through DataPad, we found that 69% of everybody that had actually entered a survey within our report did not believe in their line manager, did not believe in their chief executive officer to execute or look after their well-being. Astounding numbers here, right? So finally, something you might say, well, you did an ad hoc report. It's just an ad hoc report, and it's a piece of research. It's so much more than that. Yeah. So the Edelman report, again, I've been monitoring that for the last 15 years, and the Edelman report is very clear. And this year, particularly when they launched their June 2023 report, it was clear to say, actually, we need more accountability. But I will just quote you that they talk about this, which I think is actually fundamental to the discussion today. The social fabric weakens amid deepening divisions. The information that they've got is saying that everything's being subdivided, okay? Lost islands, for a better word, because you need to have a unified, integrated approach to everything you do. Business is the only institution seen as competent and ethical. That's interesting. 53% of respondents globally say their countries are more divided today than they were in the past. CEOs are obligated to improve economic optimism and hold divisional forces accountable, right? These are some of the things that have come out of the report. Fascinating, absolutely fascinating. Even more fascinating was the Gallup report. Don't worry, I'm nearly finished. Right, I had Mark, our business partner in the US, on the phone for hours discussing this report. Why? Well, only the Gallup Global Workplace Report said there's only 23%, right, of people, okay, in the world being productive. This leaves a hole of $8.8 trillion, which is on average about 11% of GDP, which is bigger than Amazon, Apple, and Google's turnover all put together. We should be worried. We have got something to be worried about. Douglas, video. Ricky, lights.
There was a business many years ago that I took from 4.5 million turnover to 220 million in 2.5 years. It would not have happened without individual contribution and inclusion. It wasn't just about joining the dots. It was about significant transformation and change. One of my directors from Portugal, Julio, came to me and said, Geoff, you haven't created a brand. You've created a new religion. We are emotionally attached. We are inspired, motivated to be a part of something that's going to create greatness. The person at the back of the room, don't exclude them. You need to bring them in because they may have something incredibly valuable to say. We need to do more in the empathy space, in supporting and caring for our people.
So